Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Sarah Rifani binti Surahman, metric number 145224.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Siti Nurul Aisyah binti Nasir, metric number 148944.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Siti Nur Sharifah Zakia binti Cekar. My metric number is 147555.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Nisma binti Talha, metric number 147-62.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Zusni bin Ahmad Fazil, metric number 148124. My groupmate and I will be presenting the report on Bank Islam for the year 2019 and 2020.
In Malaysia and Southeast Asia, Bank Islam was the first Sharia-compliant financial institution. The establishment of Bank Islam in 1983 is due to the increasing number of Muslims who have no choice but to keep money in conventional banks that are not Sharia-compliant. Therefore, Bank Islam seeks to preserve its position as the symbol of Islamic banks in Malaysia by providing the best service and responding to a wide range of customer needs. For example, one of Bank Islam's strategic goals for social finance is Sadaqah House, where public donations are made through digital public fundraising platforms and allocated to social finance programs in underserved categories like the hospitals, schools and businesses. The bank employs approximately 4,500 employees and has over 140 branches around the country.
For the liquidity ratio of a Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, first one is the current ratio. Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad gained 1.34 on the current ratio in the 2019, while 1.80 in the 2020. The current ratio of a Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad is increasing 0.46 from 2019 to 2020. The current ratio exceeded 1.0, so Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad has not experienced short-term obligation in their company. It provides a good result that still staying at an average of 1.0 in both years. It shows the efficiency of a Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad and give some idea about the Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad's operating cycle. Quick ratio. Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad also gained 1.34 on the quick ratio in the 2019, while 1.80 in the 2020, same to the current ratio. The reason why is because Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad's report there is no inventory because this involves only bank. In the bank, there is no product, so there is no inventory. As a result, the number of inventory is a zero. From that, it's more flexible, effective, and less expensive than holding and storing large amounts of inventory in a Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. This also helps to determine the Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad's short-term solvency. Cash ratio is the ratio of a company's total cash and cash equivalents to its current liabilities. It is a measure of company's liquidity. Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad earned 4.09 on the cash ratio in 2019, while 4.57 in 2020, and it shows the trend in the cash ratio is increasing around 0.48. Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad has a more cash and cash equivalents than current liability since its cash ratio is larger than 1. It is also has enough cash to cover all short-term bills and still has a cash balance in this position. Through Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad's report, it's proven that cash and cash equivalents are indeed higher than current liability.
For solvency ratio part, there are three types ratio, which are debt to equity ratio, financial leverage, and cash adequacy ratio. For debt to equity ratio, Bank Islam earned 11.97 in 2019, while in 2020, Bank Islam earned 9.86. This shows the trend is decreasing, and it means if the debt to equity ratio is higher, it will be riskier for the creditors and investors. So, it will help the Bank Islam to be more financially stable in 2020 compared to 2019. For financial leverage part, it means highlights a bank's financial leverage in terms of assets, liabilities, and equities. The trend for this is decreasing, and it shows that Bank Islam will be able to continue their business in future. For capital adequacy ratio, it analyzes capital and assets to assess a bank's financial strength. It also used to protect the depositors and improve the stability and efficiency of the global financial system. The trend of capital adequacy ratio is increasing, and it means the higher the ratio, it will become safe for the Bank Islam. As a result, Bank Islam is less likely to go bankrupt in 2020.
So I will continue this discussion about efficiency ratio. So basically, efficiency ratio are usually used to analyze banks' effectiveness and efficiency in managing and controlling its assets, expenses, and revenues. If the value of the ratio is higher, it indicates that the company or the bank is doing great in managing its resources to generate income and revenues. So, first of all is asset utilization ratio. This ratio is being used to measure how the bank is utilizing all of its assets. As stated in the slide, the asset utilization for BIMB has decreased by 0.7%, which is from 5.3% in 2019 to 4.6% in 2020. It shows that BIMB is not utilizing their assets to their maximum capacity in the year 2020 compared to the previous year. Next is income to operating expense ratio. The purpose or the aim of this ratio is to evaluate managerial performance in making total profits by controlling its running expenses. Income to operating expenses ratio for Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad has declined from 61% in 2019 to 54% in 2020. The value has significantly dropped by 7% because there is an increase in operating expenses in that year. Besides, BIMB's profit also has decreased. Thus, BIMB need to efficiently manage their expenses to improve this ratio. Last but not least, operating efficiency ratio. It was used to measure banks' managerial efficiency in generating operating revenues and controlling its operating expenses. It shows that operating efficiency has increased from 29% to 30%. Even though the increment is only 1%, it still proves that in 2020, BIMB has efficiently monitored their operating expenses in generating operating revenues compared to the previous year.
For profitability ratios, Bank Islam produced a better return on its shareholders' fund in 2019 compared to 2020. This shows the trend in ROE is decreasing from 10.96% to 8.98%. Shareholders can discover Bank Islam market value and growth by looking at its ROE. ROE also shows how much profit Bank Islam makes from the money invested by its shareholders. The bank also driven to concentrate on capital management in order to maximize shareholders' value. For return on asset (ROA), the calculation implies that the bank earned 0.93% in 2019, which considerably higher than the ROA in 2020, which is 0.76%. This comparison indicates that Bank Islam is utilizing its asset to generate income more effectively in 2019 compared to 2020. To conclude, in both years, the bank is not using its asset effectively. Currently, it is not a good time for investors to invest too.
For shareholder equity ratio, Bank Islam distributed its earnings per share or EPS to the investor, which is much higher in 2019 compared to 2020. As stated in the slide above, the trend of EPS is declining as Bank Islam only paid 40.21 ringgit for each outstanding share of its stock in 2020 compared to 44.75 ringgit in 2019. It showed that Bank Islam recorded a less profitable and had lower profit to distribute to its shareholder as Bank Islam need to put priority on its sustainability and capital preservation. However, the decrease in EPS for 2020 will not occasionally affect the shareholders' decision. For price earning ratio or PE ratio, Bank Islam performed well in 2020 compared to 2019, which is only 9.83 times in 2018 and 10.53 times in 2020 respectively. It shows that investors are willing to pay 10.53 times per ringgit of its earning. Therefore, the investors have huge expectation for Bank Islam future growth, and so Bank Islam need to do more in order to defend their higher valuation. For dividend yield ratio, Bank Islam recorded a downward trend of 0.68% from 2018 to 2020. So Bank Islam produced a better dividend paid in 2019 compared to the dividend paid in 2020, which Bank Islam paid 3.64% of dividend and 2.96% of dividend respectively. Lastly, dividend payout ratio. Dividend payout ratio is typically expressed as a percentage of dividend paid. So for this ratio, Bank Islam shows a declining percentage in terms of dividend paid, whereas the percentage in 2019 is much better than in 2020, with 35.75% in 2019 and 31.34% in 2020. So this ratio indicates how much the company pay to their investors and how much the company take to reinvest in the company.
Okay, CSR or corporate social responsibility may be defined as actions of a company that is focused on the direction of reaching a social gain over and above maximizing income for its shareholders and meeting all its legal obligations. From Islamic perspective, CSR entails firms fulfilling their religious, social, and economic obligations and accountability in an attempt to uphold good relationships with Allah SWT, society, and also the environment. The IMB has involved in numerous CSR projects. For instance, in 2014, they donated RM15,000 ringgit to Persatuan Braille Malaysia. For the year 2020, BIMB has allocated contribution from its Islamic social finance instruments such as sedekah, zakat and wakaf to support and aid the poor and impoverished people who are badly affected by COVID. BIMB also raised RM400,000 through the Islamic crowdfunding platform Sedekah House for disaster relief service, especially in Johor and Pahang. They also gave RM100,000 to Yayasan Al Sultan Abdullah, a NGO that intensively support those individuals who have been placed in temporary evacuation sites during flood. Lastly, Bank Islam has also built strategic connections with a number of government agencies and also non-government organizations in attempt to provide aid to flood victims.
Besides that, in 2019, BIMB involved with the construction and repair of 40 homes for impoverished region in Sabah through Project Bantuan Rumah. Not only that, BIMB also helped to protect the environment by engaging in activities such as recycle, reuse, and reduce. Moreover, BIMB also strengthened their market position through greater stakeholder participants. BIMB did training program for university graduates. And the last one is BIMB also trying to fulfill the customer satisfaction, which produce an innovative product and exceptional service such as tap mobile banking service.
In 2020, Bank Islam offer a seamless electronic payment facility for customers to fulfill zakat fitrah duty. Bank Islam collaborate with Snap and Pay and 11 zakat authorities to make Snap and Pay mobile app available in any smartphone. To complete this transaction, only email address that needed. The aim for introducing the online zakat fitrah payment facility is to minimize public mobility and eliminate the unnecessary physical contact. The mandatory zakat fitrah payment can be done in real time using Snap and Pay technology.
Adding technology to our Sharia solution, giving a service that caters to today's needs and is more linked to the current digital trend. The Snap and Pay app is available for free download in the App Store, which is iOS, and the Play Store for Android. To make a payment, customers simply need to scan the QR code provided or upload the QR code image from their gallery. Perak, Terengganu, Sabah, Sarawak, Perlis, Negeri Sembilan, Johor, Kelantan, and Pahang are now utilizing a single generic QR code to symbolize their status zakat, while Wilayah Persekutuan and Penang utilize a unique QR code for each delegate, which is we know as AMIL. Payments for zakat, wakaf, sedekah, and other services such as a payment to local authorities, government agencies, educational institutions, healthcare, joint management bodies, and retail establishments are also made easier with the app.
In conclusion, ratios are particularly useful in analysing any company's performance and their financial condition. This includes Bank Islam too, which the ratios are derived using the bank section on the annual report and not using the combination of financial items based on various subsidiaries which is under the group section. Apart from that, Bank Islam has not only continued its support in empowering its employees by allowing flexible working arrangements, but it has also been proactively engaging with customers on moratorium repayment deferment, progressively implementing the iTekad microfinancing program, and expanding collaboration with social organizations through Amal initiative. Bank Islam intends to continue with providing continuous support to underprivileged communities and the community as a whole, and leveraging digitalization to facilitate the process. Despite the challenges, Bank Islam maintains their plan aimed at ensuring the business and all stakeholders' long-term viability. That's all from us. Thank you.